Hey everybody, Josh from Crappie Junction here.
And Emily, we are starting the show different apparently tonight.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit of live fishing, so hopefully we can grab a couple before the sun goes down. So thanks for joining us. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the little comment post. But yeah, so Emily's up in the front, way up there. So
We do each have a tripod that is set up. And actually, we are each facing a different way in the boat. So you are getting one of each views. I'm noticing in our camera, it looks like I'm beautiful blue skies, and like Josh is like this gorgeous, dramatic sunset. But lo and behold, it is actually the same place, the same boat, and both views that you are getting here tonight. So thank you so much for joining us. We just decided to mix it up a little bit tonight and do some fishing. And I think I'm going to try to watch some of the comments and the chat. So if you guys have anything, you can still try to put that there and we can still try to chat with you.
whoa,
Did I just leave?
yeah, Emily just left. Why did she leave?
That's funny.
Yep, she's gone. I don't know what she's doing.
Can you still hear me? Who knows? I'll come back in the studio.
All right, so while Emily's trying to undisappear herself. Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
I'm back. I just clicked the wrong button. That's so funny. I'm just not used to using this mobile version here.
All right. So I'm going to start this off. I'm going to start off with what I'm going to be using. So we're going to be trolling tonight here. Just easy hands-free stuff, but thanks to the follow the contour. So we're currently on our track here. We're doing about 0.9. And then tonight I'm going to be using a little chartreuse paddle tail, just something, not anything crazy. Jig head doesn't seem to matter, but I do like pink, and this one just happens to be pink and white. What do you got?
Actually, the last time that we were on this lake was the last time we were fishing. We were on this lake, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. So I have actually the same thing tied on, and so I just left it, and I will show you actually. I have this Meps here, and it's actually a true V, but I put this plastic twisty tail on that bottom there, and I just had so much luck last time. So why is Josh laughing at me? I thought you're laughing at me. We just found that, especially in summer, there's a lot of good action here, and these colors just seem to work on this lake. So, Josh is a little bit brighter, more chartreuse, but I have maybe a little bit more action than he does. And so I'm excited to see who's going to get the first bite. To be honest, do you think it's? I think it's going to be. It might be Josh. We'll see.
I don't know. It's always a crapshoot, but one thing about trolling is that pay attention to where you are in the boat, because a lot of times the person in the front of the boat will get the bite first, just because their bait tends to come through the school first, and then the people behind can get ready for that bite, because you should be, relatively within, the same area as far as your baits go. They should be staggered in the back of the boat. So yeah, it just depends. I think last time I used a paddle tail and they weren't super aggressive, so I went back to the twister and I got a lot more bites. So I just wanted to see, last time we were here was the middle of the day, so now it's evening. So I'm hoping that, we're gonna get a few bigger fish maybe coming up in the shallows. So we're fishing in about 6 feet of water, 7 feet of water, and then we'll kind of come off into 8 and then come back into 4, and it just kind of goes back and forth, the track that we have set. So
And I'm just here kind of messing around with the comments, clicking around, and hello to everybody that is checking in. So John, you said that you're at work and at least you can join us for fishing, kind of. So thanks for being here. And while we are trolling, we always kind of bring a fishing report. And so let's bring a live one. Hey, Steve, we're fishing for, well, I guess always whatever's biting, right? This time of the year, we're fishing weed lines. And so it's a lot of crappies, perhaps a nice bluegill. But this lake that we're on is known for some pretty decent perch. And I don't think people always expect people to be for people to expect perch to be in this area, but they might be. So that's not really what we're targeting, but we might see one of those or two.
yeah.
And we'll see. I don't know. I guess everyone at home, let us know. Who do you think is going to catch the first fish? It's going to be me, or if it's going to be Josh. Um, but we were just going to say we always start with a fishing report, and so we're going to bring kind of a real time. And you know what's interesting is Josh and I both have hummingbird graphs. They're pretty all right. They work pretty all right to put us on fish.
Mhm.
My graph reads at the trolling motor head, and Josh's reads from the back of the boat. So his is just a little bit higher up in that water column, but our temperatures frequently don't match perfectly. So right now I have a water temp of 70 and a half. And that's actually down a little bit from what we were seeing. What do you have back there?
Mine says 68.9.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so just a slight bit of variability. And gosh, this is good biting temps for fish, I think. So,
Yeah.
we were here not too long ago, and like I said, we were doing pretty good on this weed line. And one of the things that we notice is this is a lake. I don't expect anybody to recognize it. I don't know, maybe you do. It's kind of popular, but it is a lake that there's quite a few houses, summer homes, but there's a lot of recreation. And so this lake has a pretty big focus on like fishing. They really love the lake, they care about the lake, but they also seem to like to cut out the weeds and treat the lake and do different things. And I'm not meeting that in a judgmental way. I'm just saying, a lot of times we'll get to the lake and some of these weed beds that we've been fishing all summer all of a sudden are like disappeared or look totally different or whatever. And I think that actually happened a little bit to us tonight. So we
Yeah,
were
we'll
looking
see.
around. Yeah, we'll see what these weeds are doing here this evening. But otherwise we have kind of a nice mix behind us that there's kind of some rushes and gosh, all kinds of weeds right below us too. So oh
Oh, just missed a crappie.
just missed one. So I always feel like the closer we're heading down a point here, I guess the side of a lake, but we're kind of going towards the middle and it gets a little bit deeper as we go out. And I always like the bite as we continue to go this way. So I know it's going to pick up here as we get going.
Hey, Eric. Yeah, so I think that one of the things to mention here is that this isn't just a weed line that we kind of picked out willy-nilly. It's something that like during the summer you start to notice, and every lake has a little bit different. And as far as weeds, what weeds you're looking for. But I think one of the other things, hey Gene, one of the other things that you have to put together with your weed edges that you're trying this summer trolling pattern for panfish is adjacent to the basin. So especially these points, like this is a really big point. It's not
It's like a
exaggerated
really
at
big
all.
point.
There's a big 3 foot flat that comes out, and it doesn't tank off super hard, but it is right adjacent to the main basin. It gets down to 20-25 feet out in front, and it kind of slopes down gently. And I think, from my experience, I feel like the panfish like to set up there because, it gives them escape routes from predators that, a lot of the predators do utilize the weeds. But the reason why trolling is effective for big panfish, I feel like, is that bigger panfish can hang out with some of those bigger predators because they're not usually the target food. The target food is going to be that smaller stuff. And so if you want a lot of fish, you can go to structure, mid-lake structure, some of those cribs or rock piles and stuff, and that'll hold a lot of that bait size fish, the anything from 4 to 6, 7 inches. But the stuff that gets a little bit bigger than that, they can start setting up on these weed lines and hitting the same minnows and everything else that the other predators are eating. So yeah, we're hopefully tonight we'll get a couple little bit of variety. I know last time we were here we did pretty good for multi-species. So we just had a little bite little bit ago, so we'll just see. Like Emily said, as you get out towards the basin, like
Oh, there's a weed, don't worry.
we kind of start in a little bit towards shore and kind of troll our way out. Um I don't know, I something that Emily reminds me a lot about, because it's something that I lose track of quite a bit, is trolling direction. And so sometimes you have a better bite going one direction on a troll line versus the other direction.
And it's like, why?
And so,
Sometimes you can't even
we all
explain.
know that fish kind of like they'll face into the wind or stuff like that, but like sometimes like fish will be facing with the wind, and that might have to do with water clarity or um or just if it's cloudy or if it's sunny. So you just have to. I always like to start one way and just keep cognizant if you how many bites you get, or if you don't get any fish, just try it back the other way before you give up on that spot. um I know we were kind of talking a little bit here. If this doesn't work out, we might zip over to a crib or something to see what's going on. Just head over towards the landing, um, but yeah, we should be pulling into fish here pretty soon, I would think.
Well, and gosh, I am coming through some weeds here, and it's always I hope I don't have a weed on me. That is actually one of the things I like about that Mepps blade is you can tell if there's a weed on you, then that blade is not spinning and you can just kind of feel that dead line. If there is no weed, then a lot of times, especially if you give it a good hard jig, you can feel that blade spin. And so that's kind of a nice indicator for us. But the other thing that I was actually just noticing I was doing, and this is probably a great thing to talk about, is I was over here and I was kind of adjusting my drag. So I don't know if you guys can hear that at home. One of the things is when we are trolling for crappies like this, people, call crappies paper mouths, right? And so they have like those very fine little mouth. Like pieces. And so if you sometimes you catch them and they're like hook good and that's great. But sometimes that paper mouth nickname is so true. And so I find that I set my drag quite a bit less than what I otherwise would suggest for other kinds of fishing. And part of that is because sometimes those crappies, they are, dare I say, a little bit ferocious. I know that they're just a panfish, but they will come out of the weeds and they will gobble up that bait and then like try to go right back down into those weeds, right? And so it's a pretty hard hit, especially for just a panfish, at least in my opinion. But sometimes when you are trolling, so you're going in a direction and then that fish comes up and it takes that bait and right back down into the weeds. Sometimes you'll get, that moment where it kind of like taps out and just there's too much pressure. And so, in my opinion, I like to leave my drag that little bit looser because I just feel like honestly it helps in my hook sets. So is that something that you do too? Have I you don't
No,
do that?
I just set my drag according to the line weight that I'm using. But I guess one thing I was just sitting here thinking about is hey Marshall, that's a good tip. Yeah, long rods, I like a 7.6 is what I like to use for trolling panfish. 7.6 light. Oh, you guys can read that or not, but
On my
um
side, they probably could. Look at that.
but
We have the same rod, just mine is pink and Josh's is green, so it's kind of funny.
but a lot of people think that straight line trolling is a pretty mono physical action, right? You just kind of put your line in the water and you just like drag it around. But with pan fishing, I find that I do a lot of like, one reel up, because if I hit a couple weeds at a time, like I'll just pull a little bit of line in, just because you want to be able to
Oh,
hit. Oh, Emily's got one.
oh no, I have to tighten my drag a tiny bit because I was talking about it too much.
But
That's funny.
so we so you want to be able to adjust your jig in the water column. What do you got?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
nice crappie. Oh,
I should have netted
and
that one.
there's that
Actually, that
paper
was
mouth.
straight good. Sorry guys. I'm really sad I didn't show you that one.
So yeah, you let some line out sometimes, you reel some up, just keep on top of the weeds. As long as you're like ticking the tops of the weeds, you're in a good position. And another
Uh,
thing is that I keep track of for myself is that I like to keep when I'm in like 3 to 7 feet of water, I like to kind of keep the tip of my rod up in the air. That just keeps the jig kind of a little bit nose up while I'm dragging it, and that helps like kind of not scoop the weeds so much. If we're out deeper weed lines or stuff that's a little bit more of like flats where you don't have to adjust for um getting stuck in the weeds, I'll keep my rod tip down. Either way, I don't really think it is affected by wind too much. because when you get a fish, it's pretty easy to tell. Like it's a like a peck, like it'll hit and then you'll just load up, and a weed just loads up. But there are some times when fish just come up and they just grab it and they sit there, and so they're not hitting it, so you won't feel that thump.
That
Hey, Aaron. Um, but they'll just come up and grab it, and then you'll be like, "Oh, that's weeds," and then all of a sudden the weeds are fighting back. So that's kind of crazy. But I think another thing I like about trolling is that it's kind of like fishing the river. Especially when you're fishing 2 to 3 inch baits, everything eats those. Bluegills, muskies, northerns, smallmouth, like crappies, everything eats it. And so you're basically fishing for every single fish in the lake when you're doing this. And it's always a surprise. After you do it quite a bit, like I said, you'll be able to start telling kind of what fish are what by the types of bites. Um they all have like a little bit different cadence on how they bite, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just rambling. Emily's over here getting bites, and so I'm sitting here thinking I should switch over to a twister.
Oh my goodness, I am using a Mr. Twister. It is a twisty tail. I want to say it's a 2 inch. And just the way that it worked out on my bait, I took some of the nose of that bait and I did pinch it off. So it has that full tail and that full action. But you know what, you guys? I just swear by, oh my gosh, I should actually look up what this color is actually called, but it's like a banana yellow or a school bus yellow. It's not chartreuse, it's not neon, but it is this very true yellow color. And what's nice about this twister tail is it's called like a core shot. So that yellow is in that middle, but then it has kind of this external clear on it and it has red glitter. And so it just kind of is a very attractive and very flashy bait. But I don't know what it is about that school bus yellow color. Like we go to so many lakes and it just seems to work kind of all over the place, and not always, not every single time, but it is definitely one of my go-tos. So
That's a color that I kind of grew up on. That's chartreuse jighead with a yellow twister. And it was always Mr. Twister when I was growing up. I don't know why that's just something that worked out well for us. Now I tend to pour a lot of my own, and I don't know, I tend to lean on chartreuse quite a bit, but another color that I like to pull out once in a while is pink, and we have our own kind of custom pink glitter color, which is a clear body with glitter in it, like a lot of glitter.
like a
So
lot of glitter.
that's kind of something that we do have a lot of success around our area with too. But I really think that this is a good chance for experimenting with colors. You can pull, if you have a decent enough amount of shoreline. I think right now we probably have, I don't know, 150 yards of troll. So in that you can pull something for 50 yards. If you don't get a bite, throw another color on it, pull something for 50 more yards, and by the time you get to the end, you've tried 3 colors. You can try 3 colors back, or it's very versatile. Um and it's one of those things that kids can do. They can cast and reel if they want. They don't have to sit there and hold a rod. You're going slow enough. Like I said, we're going like 0.9, 1 mile an hour. You can, I'll troll up to, if they're biting good, I'll troll up to like 1.2, 1.3. Just because, then you can cover a lot more water and just see how far that bite goes. Because I think we've talked about it before. Trolling is one of those things where you're going to run into multiple schools of panfish that are staged up in this similar area. And so you're not, you can, if you get a bite, you can stop and spot lock or anchor
A weed.
and, and cast at those fish. You might get 2 or 3 more after your initial one that you caught trolling, but then they're going to kind of disperse. And with trolling, you can pull, if we had 4 people in the boat, we could potentially have all 4 at the same time and not burn that school out. We could, because then you keep going, you get more hits on the next school, more hits on the next school, and then by the time you get to the end of your troll, then then you can turn around and hit those same schools, and then you'll start to develop a pattern. You can start to set up like, oh, that red cabin over there right in front of there, and then the green boat awning has another school, and then you can kind of be ready for it. And when they do eventually shut off, the majority of the time. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you can just sit here and do it all day if you want. um but yeah, to me it's very fun. We can I can keep an eye on my side imaging and all that stuff, and sometimes I find like a bonus crib or something doing this. I can, if you're not using the follow the contour feature, you can map. So you can, if you're manually driving your trolling motor, um you can just map while you're doing this. That's a really easy thing. I suggest anybody that has the ability to map, you should probably troll, whether you're a muskie person or you're a pan fisherman or walleye person. Always have that auto chart on while you're trolling, because it's just going to save a bunch of time later on, and you're going to find some good spots, because that's just what happens. A lot of my spots are just on accident.
A lot of your spots are an
Yeah,
accident.
they are.
That's really funny. But you're kind of right. You're not wrong. And one of the things that we haven't talked about yet is the amount of sun. And as you know, you were talking about different passes and different baits, but sometimes that light changing. Oh, I thought you were catching a fish, not a weed. But sometimes that light changing will change, that bite, what they're looking for. And I'm thinking that's what I need is a color change coming up here. So to the people at home, I don't know, maybe let you guys vote a little bit. Maybe I'll even show you. I know I showed you before, but if you're here now, I am using the spinner. It's a True V. It's got this pink blade, and again, that yellow tail. I don't know why they eat that, but I think I'm going to be switching it up to a new color coming up here. So vote if you want quick, and then we'll see what I got and if I can match kind of what you're thinking of. But I am going to be taking some things out, and maybe I'll give you some options too. So let's see what I come up with.
Jim, the 19th. Oh, that might be a lucky weekend for Emily. She can come hang out with you if that's what you're talking about, because my brother has me booked for that weekend.
Yeah, Jim, I'll come visit you. Let's catch some crappies.
Oh, Eric Rokas is whitetail.
White. Okay. You know what? I actually have a few here that I've been meaning to try. So give me a minute.
So another thing that you want to keep in mind while you're trolling these weed lines is that you want to make sure that you check your lure periodically for weeds. The paddle tail is really nice because you can kind of just give it like a quick little jerk, and you can indicate that tail paddling. And once there's even a little bit of weeds on there, it seems to disrupt that paddling action. So that's easy, but twisters are a little bit harder. They're a little bit more subtle. So it's um, better if you check it just randomly if you haven't gotten a bite once in a while. And if you do get a bite and you miss, I always just reel it up and check, because for one, you can cast over and you might get that fish to bite again if you can cast over it just quick. But for two, a lot of times they'll just hit the tails and they'll pull your body down. So you want to just make sure that you go back and adjust that. So I'm sitting here and I'm a little distracted by the trolling motor, because it's kind of waggling us back and forth here, because the contour
Oh,
kind
it's
of
got a
is
mosquito on it. Hold on.
all over the place. But that's not necessarily a bad thing,
Whoops. Or little.
because when your boat turns one way and you're off the opposite side, your bait will speed up, and if it turns into the same side as your bait, then your bait will slow down. And so sometimes even that action will be enough to trigger bites. Oh, you got another boat for white. So yeah, so you don't necessarily have to keep it, hair straight, and you don't necessarily have to stay in like the exact depth of water. You know, I like to work in the summertime. I like to work shallow to deep, and just keep in mind like if I catch 3 fish in 7 feet of water, I want to stay between 6 and 7. Right? You can stay on either side of there. The important part is to stay on or around the edges of the weeds because that's where everything's setting up for ambushing. So yeah, I think we're getting to the end of the pass here, so I'm gonna have to swap the boat around in about 2 or 3 minutes. But I might switch over to a twister because I don't think they like the paddle tail so much. I had one bite.
You had one bite only.
I had
I had a
bite.
few more than that, but I don't know, maybe a few little bites. I had that one right at the boat. That was a nice fish, but like I said, I know that we've taken this pass before. We've done way better, and so we are going to try some other things. I'm looking for my scissors. Just like, oh my gosh.
Here,
Here, I can
that's
use
not a
this.
scissors.
Yeah, but this'll work. What your cutters cut my line. It'll work. What I found.
Yeah, this will work out just about perfect. We'll be able. It's about a half-hour troll pass here, so we'll turn around. We'll see if they're. Oh, who said dark colors? That's kind of
Well,
Troy.
that's what I was almost
Dark
thinking, but
black
then
or
everyone
pumpkin.
voted white.
Okay, well I'm gonna take the last couple seconds of this drift here, and I'll switch over to a darker. I might try purple because I think that's what I got for twisters.
Purple is always a good color, in my opinion. I don't know why. It's not a very natural color. I don't know. I guess sometimes bluegills are kind of purple. I know.
Like a June bug color. I'm surprised. I must be all out of my black ones.
Oh, I think our trolling motor's turning around. Alrighty.
Okay.
Oh. We're turned around. So we'll get this rigged right back up here. Troy saying dark black, purple, pumpkin. I always forget to use pumpkin. I will admit.
All right, here you go.
Here we
That's
go.
my next one.
And I am your true opposite. Oh, I can't even see. Where's my camera? Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to watch comments and things. So the blade, I even chose a white blade. So there's a debate. There's still some flash there because there's gold in the back of that white blade, right? But I did want to go as full white as I could. So I started using these blades this year because here's one of the things. So the Mr. Twisters, they have
I
a pretty
worked there.
strong tail. They have a pretty strong tail, and so they don't really break off all that often. But in those instances where you have a lot of perch, where you have a lot of bluegills, and they're just really nipping you off, then you still have that action. Whoa. Sorry, I'm hitting my tripod and that's scary. I don't want to knock my phone over the edge of the water here. But when you still have that action of that blade and you just come through fish, sometimes even if that tail's gone, that's all you need is that blade. Now, I guess we'll turn soon. We have a beautiful sunset coming in. Let's see. Wishing that you were here. I think earlier you guys were talking about trolling and the weed edges and all of that, but it was mentioned in the comments about how fish are, whoa, often in that top part of that water column. And I just think that is so true. And I think people forget. I think when people think about, fishing weeds, and let's say that we're in 8 or 10 feet of water and that there's weeds, I think a lot of times people think that you have to be in like 5 or 6 feet, like get down to the bottom of those weeds. But that's actually not true. And you got to think about where, what those fish are doing. So are they just hanging out there? Maybe, but if there's that opportunity to feed, that's definitely what they're doing too. So those littler minnows kind of come through at the top and they pass through and all the leaves of the weeds and stuff. And I think that's where that ambush thing comes from. So I'm just watching Josh over there just like untangle all of this
Just
stuff.
always. That's the one thing with the light line. If you let it get anywhere near the tip of your rod, it just wraps around everything. Well, that's
But that's all right. Yeah, that's for sure. So, as far as tonight, I would say I will be honest, this is pretty slow for our typical trolling bite. So I know we talk a lot about trolling and we're like, oh yeah, we'll come out. It'll be summer. It'll be great. We'll troll. We'll make a great show. And I don't know. I can't say that this is terrible, right? But I would say that if this was our typical day, we might be, even exploring other shorelines. We might still try to hit a crib or two. It looks like Josh isn't leaving too eagerly. He's putting lights out on the boat. I leave our front light in, so that should be good to go. But there's still a good amount of evening and there's still a good amount of bite to be left.
yeah. I don't know. I mean, we are all also out here during the day too, and so fish could either be a little bit shallower, fish could be a little bit deeper. When we pulled up on the spot right before the show, there was fish on the side imaging. I can still see fish. We've gotten some bites. If somebody would use their net, then we would have fish
Oh,
to show you.
yeah, yeah. It was a good one. You'll never know. But I think especially as we transition closer and closer to fall, those fish do kind of push out into those deeper waters and those basins and things like that. So I don't know. In summer, I'm always like, maybe they went shallow, but maybe they went deep. And I guess we'll give it a few minutes here. We're not going to cut this path short. I do know that there's crappies here to be had, but we might give you a little sneak peek of a little crib fishing. Oh, look at Josh. He's like, he doesn't even want to.
I don't know. I mean, we can, but the sun's going down,
Sun's
so
going
I don't know
down.
how well our phones pick up in the dark.
Does the dark change the cell signal?
I don't know if anybody wants to just listen to me talk.
Probably not forever. Probably not forever. But oh my goodness. Oh, the weed. Don't worry.
Sing it.
Fish or weed, hard to tell. Nobody. We sing that on our boat. It's just you never know. There's the thing when you're trolling them. Okay, we were talking about this just a minute ago. Is those fish and they're ambushing what's in that top of that water column, right? And so we talked about this. You're ticking, tick, tick, tick off the top of those weeds, and just once in a while you catch one. But and you were talking about this already. That's the thing. Is I'm going back. They've heard this already, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes those fish, sometimes it's like the tiniest little bite, ding, and then it's like, but it's really a fish. But it almost feels like you're jumping off a weed. Just
Yeah.
funny. You never
One
know.
thing I can't stress enough with this panfish trolling is the utilization of a swivel. Whether that's just you cut a piece of your main line like 15 to 24 inches and just tie a swivel in between there or whatever, but I really do think that helps a lot just because, if you get a weed on there, that'll spin your jig. If your jig isn't, if the body isn't sitting correctly, it'll spin. So just having that swivel on there just helps so much when you're doing this, especially when you're doing light line and light tackle stuff. Trying to think of all my tips. It's hard. It's a lot to pack into an hour.
I mean, I think I'm almost feeling the opposite. Is it's like that is all my tips. I don't know. Is um because people imagine trolling to be so difficult, and I think a lot of times you think trolling and you think like walleyes, and you think planer boards, or you think I don't know big water, or you think I don't know. At least I do. Maybe my brain just gets stuck in that, right? But here we have this instance where you have just like a jig and a plastic, and I guess I'm using certainly the spinner bait, which is a little bit I guess unusual. But that's the thing is you can use whatever you want. It does not have to be fancy. You don't need planer boards. You don't need things. And you were talking about how we're going slow. You could be casting if you want, and that is totally true. But if you kind of watch what we're doing, I'll even do it right now. So we do just like a little cast out just to kind of get that line out there, and then I do like a swoosh a line, right? Just like a little bit. And then I kind of watch it, make sure that line gets tight, that it didn't fall too far and hit a weed, right? You might need to reel up a little bit. But otherwise, getting your line out there and then just kind of hanging out for a minute. that's all the tips. Like that's how you do this. And so it's easy, it's user friendly. You're like, what else? And it's like I kind of feel like that's all of it, right? So I guess my tips, have an open mind. Like we said, change your baits up. It's easy when you're trolling to just have a bait and like leave that line out there and then leave it out there. Right. You're like, oh, it's still running. It's still running. And it's like, that might be true. Right. But check it for weeds, maybe adjust the color, all those different things. And, don't get too stuck in your pattern.
Mhm.
We're kind of doing that tonight. We're kind of stuck in our pattern, but
No, I mean, we're just like we were talking about. You have to take one troll down and one troll back and just see how it's going. So, I mean, how many bites did you have? There we go.
that's a fish.
That's a nice crappie. Thanks to Mr. Troy and his dark twister. Get the net out, right, Emily?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's a good one.
All right, there you go. We finally got one. But yeah, it's really nice. Look at right in the top of their mouth.
Right in the beak.
One thing I'll also throw out there is that I don't know if this will come across for you guys, but I really push my barb down. For trolling, you don't really need the barb so much. I don't really lose that many fish because you're constantly on tension. So basically they're just sitting on your hook and waiting until you get them up to the boat. That's also why, not picking on Emily aside, that's also why netting them is important. Because that's usually when you're gonna lose them, is when you get to the boat and then you're trying to either swing them in or
That's what I
trying
was
to grab
doing. I
them.
just always boat flip them. I always.
And that's when your hook's gonna pop out of their mouth. So, I always keep the net handy and just drag them in. Yeah,
Just drag them in.
just drag them in.
Just that easy.
And it's easier to get the hook out. You can get back in the water quicker. We don't keep a whole lot of fish. So I just would rather have more time with my bait in the water than fiddling around with a barb stuck in their face. So
I think they'd prefer that too.
yeah, I think so.
That's funny.
So the jig head size. So I'm using a 16th. That's usually what my go-to is from, that probably 5 foot to 12 feet. And then I'll probably, if we troll 12, which we don't run into too many lakes that are that clear where there's weeds out to 12, or the weed line is out 12, 15 feet. But when we do, I'd size up a little bit to like an 1/8. And then anything higher, anything shallower than 5, because we do troll in like 3-4 feet of water. A 32nd is usually pretty good. Just keeps everything out of the weeds and stuff. But you can't underestimate. We talk about weed edges, and everybody thinks like the big walls of cabbage, or like big massive like impenetrable weed mats, right? But like right now we're basically just fishing the edge of like that carpet grass, or like it's called Cara, and it doesn't stick up super high. We're in 6 feet of water. We'll come past some patches of Illinois pondweed or cabbage, but a lot of it is only about a foot off the bottom, and these fish are just kind of sitting on top of it, and that they're just cruising around the edge looking for stuff that's hiding in it. And so you just have to find out where the bait is, what these fish are referencing, and then if you can find other parts of the lake, they'll set up very much similar. Even on a small lake, if the north shore is one way and you're getting successful and it shuts off, and then the east shore is like that, it's worth going and checking the east shore, even if it's an east wind and the conditions aren't super great for it. If you were getting bit in those, everything is equal besides the direction of the wind. it's worth trying that, because a lot of times you'll find success just going and trying that other spot that's really similar. So yeah, we knew that there would be some fish here, whether they were biting or not. You can't make them bite. So but I don't know, for 40 minutes, a couple of crappies, and you had at least 4 bites that last pass. So I had 2 bites. Just dialing in. That's really all this is about. And once you get dialed in, then it's pretty fun.
That's pretty fun. Until then, though, it's not. It's hard work.
No, I like that part.
I'm just teasing you mostly. To everyone at home that said white, I'm so sorry. This is what I was going to choose in the first place.
See that? Guy catches 1 fish and then she has to switch right away.
Oh, honestly, since we turned around, I've gotten not even a bite, not even a nibble. Oh, I know. I didn't want to say that. Full disclosure, it's true. Oh no, it's a weed. It's a weed. It's a weed. I'm just on a weed. Don't worry.
Just over here faking all of us out.
Because okay, here's why. Is I forgot that I put on actually quite a bit of a heavier jig here, and so I cast it out, and that's the thing. Okay, so the more line that you let out is the deeper that it'll kind of get, and so I had like cast it way out, let quite a bit of line out, and I was just right there in the weeds. So now I think I'm gonna be better. We'll see what the fish think. They're the judge. I think I got a weed on me. I never cleared it off. Yeah. So certainly as the year goes on, we're going to be, doing this, because this goes, gosh, right into the fall. And then, like you were saying, we keep our eye out for cribs and stuff, because as the fall comes along, that's certainly where the fish are. And then we're getting ready for ice fishing after that. So
yeah. The Wisconsin Ice Fishing Expo is less than 100 days away.
that's actually pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm not ready for ice season yet.
I'm ready for Ice Expo.
Yeah, that's for sure. I see some ducks moving in, which is okay. That's stupid to point out. I guess I'm not just saying that, but it's like we find that, where we find the loons is where we find fish. And that just sounds like so silly, like so obvious, but I don't know. It's just true.
There's another one.
There's another one.
Oh, that came off.
Popped off.
That might have been a walleye.
That might have been a walleye. Well, that is a nice thing as we get into the evening. A few more of those. This bait, I tried to choose a slightly larger bait. It's a size 2, and this might be too heavy. We'll see. Just had to clear the weeds like twice right in a row, though. The more time you spend with weeds, the less time that you spend with fish or bites. They don't bite when there's weeds on there. But the ducks are coming in, so they think the fish are here.
Lucky ducks.
Well, we'll see. I don't think it's actually loons. Those are the ones you watch out for. They know where the fish are.
Well, and we've had a pretty crazy weather pattern as far as fishing weather goes this week. We had a little bit of turbulent weather over the weekend, and then we had some nice weather coming into the week, and then we had a couple of days where it was like on and off showers, and then they're talking about maybe on and off showers on Saturday, and yeah, Troy, purple strikes again. But yeah, so I've been watching the pressure all week, and we've been going from 30 point, the mid 30.5 ish to 29.8 to it's been up and down all week, so that doesn't really help things all that much in my opinion. And right now currently we have a pretty crisp north wind, so that's
yeah, I could almost be wearing a jacket.
a jacket. I'm sitting here in shorts and sandals. So.
Yeah, well, the fish are bundling up too.
Fish are bundling up.
You never know. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm glad this is working out. I know we tried this once last year and our service was a little bit spotty, but we found a little bit better service and we did pass a couple of other spots that we could probably do this on. So that'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we'll do this like once a month or something. Makes planning for the podcast easy, I'll tell you what.
Well, you can't be get ahead of the cart too much because we also have some other stuff coming up that we might be doing once a month too. So
Well, you never know.
yeah, you never do know. But speaking about events and stuff coming up, like if you guys keep an eye on our stuff, we're gonna be doing some stuff with Onyx Fish in the Wausau area at the Scotties. So if you're in the, if you're within an hour on the 24th of September, we're gonna be over there. They're gonna be having a big end of the year patio party, where they're closing. That's their last night for their outdoor patio. But we're gonna be out there with our projector hooked up to our phones, going through Onyx Fish, kind of giving everybody just a little bit of a people
Here's how
that
we
don't
do
know
it.
what's what,
Yeah.
people that don't know how to use it, kind of the basics. And then if there's anybody with questions and stuff, we'll be out there answering questions, and we're gonna be hanging out for the evening. So 24th, September 24th at Scotties, we're gonna be out there talking about that. So that'll be pretty fun.
And like we said, stay tuned to our page because we will advertise that a lot more as it comes closer. And we'll probably make like a little event so you can, click that you're going to come, that you're interested. And then Facebook will remind you when to meet us there. But some really great stuff. This is that time of year. I keep saying ice, open water, back and forth, but that's because this is the time of the year that my brain starts planning for that, right? Like I'm just excited for it. I'm thinking about it already. There's places, well, honestly, there's places around us that we don't have like boat ramps on, but they're public, so I can't get my boat there, but I would like to fish there. And ice fishing is kind of a nice opportunity for some of those lakes.
Yep.
It's a little bit harder maybe to explore a new lake in ice season. The boat gets us around pretty quick, and I love that it makes that map, right? But ice season, there is just something special about it when you can get on all those little spots around you that we otherwise can't. So I'm looking forward to that, but we are definitely going to be using this time to prep for that, and I just cannot wait.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about it today because this is like you said. Short struck me. It bit my tail off. Nope, not my tail. Took my whole twister. Bastard. But yeah, I was just thinking about it today, and I think I might go through and do like a side-by-side comparison with our Jiffy Base Camp and our Monster Lodge. I was thinking about that today because I got to air both of those out anyways. I'll have them set up. So that might be a fun thing just to go through the different features of each and kind of why we have a couple different options just for the two of us. I think they both serve a purpose for us. I wouldn't say that it's probably not for everybody to have both, but like it might give you an idea if you wanted to choose one or the other. We can go through some of that stuff. So I think I might make a video on that. That might be a fun one to do, since I have to have them set up anyway.
We'll do it. We'll both have our own shack to set up in for ice camping this year.
Yeah. Well, if we have our own shacks to set up for ice camping, then you have to haul whatever you're bringing in for yourself.
Oh my gosh. I'm going light, baby. My one man.
You're fine. Easy to heat.
That's about it. Oh my god. You want to know something funny that I noticed? This is way off topic. So there's been this little bay that we're in. There's another boat behind us. Some dudes. I don't know, they're probably not watching this podcast, but hello to them if they are, right? But we noticed that when we got here, they were kind of off in a part of the bay and they were pan fishing. And I don't know, I would venture to guess that they had caught a fish or two. I don't know if that's true or not, but I would guess. And then as we were trolling along, I was noticing that they actually switched to muskies. They had some really big baits. They were focusing closer on like the defined weed lines. They were doing a lot of casting. And you know what's funny is I'm pretty sure they gave up, which is not the funny part. I hope they caught fish. I hope they're having a ton of fun, right? But they totally switched tactics. They went back to panfish. And I've been noticing as we were trolling along in this direction, because if there's a slight breeze, it's maybe going against us now, right? And so there's a few little dead minnows that have floated by, so they're probably back there using bobbers and minnows. Isn't that funny? But interesting that they went for muskie and then switched back to panfish. So
Yeah.
maybe the crappies do turn on. It's hard to say. I guess I'll admit we've been here an hour and only caught a handful of fish. So on a regular day, I would say that this is pretty slow for what we're used to. But again, just a really easy technique, a really beautiful night, a great time to be out here. So time well spent either way. And like Josh always says, it's not always catching. Sometimes it's fishing, and I'm like blah 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 because it's the catching that's always like really fun, right? But like I said, it's always great to be out here, and I'm glad that we came. So I think we have just a few minutes left. I don't know. My phone is, well, not actually as dead as I thought it would be, but getting there. So if you have a few last minute questions or things that you want to chat about, put that in that comment section. I think we're going to kind of finish off this troll pass here, see if we can get a few more fish, but otherwise we'll be closing it up for the evening, and I might convince Josh to stop at a crib on the way back. So we'll see, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I think we'll probably wrap it up here. It's starting to get kind of dark for us. So what do you think?
Fish don't care. Let's see. Hold on. I'm clicking my phone. I'm looking at my graph. We're kind of coming around like a tip of the point. Let's just go like another minute or two and then we'll switch. Then we'll head out. That's the problem. It's like one more cast. But
Well,
it's
if we're
like one
heading
more
out
minute.
anyways, we might as well troll out to the end of the point and then leave.
Okay, fine. Are you flipping around then?
Yeah, when this is done. There
Oh
we
no,
go.
it just beeped. That is done. I thought there was more path to go. All right. All right. The other thing I'm gonna do. I love the spinner, but Josh, you've caught quite a few more fish than I have, and I do have just a regular jig set up, so I might switch and just see how that goes. What? I need a new plastic so fast. Wait.
All right.
All right, let's see what we pull out. Oh, this is not even my twisty tails. Wow.
All right. One more little.
I'm looking for purple, and I'm like, where's all my purple?
Well, do you want
No,
one?
I'll give me one more second. Actually. Yeah, I'm out of purples
There you go.
or pinks. I was looking for pink.
Well, here.
No, I'm gonna take this purple. What do like June bug?
That's what I said.
I know you did, but I didn't see that. It's purple, but it also has green flake in it.
Yep.
Oh, man, I feel like in the amount of time I was looking down and looking at baits, it just got darker.
Yep. It gets dark fast.
Well, and the bad news is that it's kind of clouding up because I think there's supposed to be, did they call it a blood moon tonight? Like
Oh,
a
yeah.
partial eclipse? I heard something about potential for northern lights, but with clouds, we're not going to see any of that.
Lure works. We'll see. There's plenty of crappies out here for you.
There's a lot of crappies in this lake, I'll tell you what. That's the thing, is they're out here. Actually, it was funny. I think we talked about this a little bit last week. Well, not this past weekend, it was maybe the weekend before, but we had taken this big adventure out, drove out to this like really inaccessible lake. It was in the middle of nowhere. We're like, oh my gosh, if it's that hard to get to, there's definitely going to be fish in there. And you know what? We went and it was fine. It was fine. But then we came actually to this lake the very next day and did way better. Super accessible lake here.
Yeah.
Just funny how that works.
Some of those lakes, though, they do get stuck in your head. So you want to check them out.
Winter.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
How about you do all the new lake checking in winter, and I'll do all the new lake checking in summer. And
No.
then you can drive me around in the winter, and I'll drive you around in the
Is
summer.
that how that works?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Who's gonna drill all the holes?
I'll drill holes. You just have
You
to,
all heard it here.
yeah. You just have to fish out of a 4-inch hole, and you have to drive me around.
Oh my goodness. I'm not good at that. I like the catching part of the fishing. Oh my goodness. You know, whoa. I thought our trolling motor almost just was gonna hit a rock, to be honest.
All right.
But no, it didn't. It just like twitched funny. I don't know. It was navigating or I don't know what I was doing. But I am noticing that there is more boats kind of closing in around us. So either they think that we're crushing it. I don't know, or maybe the fish really do push in here. But when we set up here this evening, like I said, there was only that one other boat around, and now I'm seeing a few others kind of starting to push in. So I don't mean to be so distracted and watch our surroundings, but I always wonder, do they know something I don't? All we can do is find out.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was supposed to get so cloudy tonight.
I didn't think so, but lo and behold. Let us know if you guys are in a cloudy place or if you see a cool blood moon or whatever. Take a picture, send it over to us. We're interested. Apparently, we're not going to get to experience it. We had the beautiful sunset, but then all the clouds just came rushing right in. So it is what it is. But I guess we are going to finish up the end of our troll pass here.
Yep.
If we catch any more fish, we'll definitely let you guys know. We love to post about that and let you know the colors that ultimately worked and how it went for us and all that. But otherwise, I think actually Josh is on a work trip next week.
Yes, I am up in the UP for work doing a conference.
Yeah. So he'll be gone, but I think I actually have a different guest all lined up for next week. So that's going to be a whole ton of fun. And I'm going to keep a secret for now who that person is because they're pretty awesome. But you'll see it posted. We'll post that information out there. You'll know in a few days. And otherwise, I guess what else?
That's it. I don't got much else.
That's it. All right. Well, to everybody at home, thanks so much for taking the time to be here with us and to go fishing with us. I know on Thursday evening it's a whole lot to squish in, right? But we made it happen. And thanks to Josh for connecting with that fish and at least showing us one, right? That's funny. But I know we'll be back. We'll do a little bit more of this. We'll show you a little bit more of what we're working on and what our fish are doing and all of that stuff. So um I guess with that, thanks again for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing you on next week's edition of The Night Bite.
Night, everybody.